Let's be honest. Realizing you've lost your car title induces instant panic. Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm going to guide you through exactly how to replace a lost car title right here in Vermont. We're breaking down the latest rules, the exact forms you need, and the fastest ways to get you back on the road legally. Picture this. You've just found the perfect buyer for your car. Or maybe you're finally ready to register that classic barn find you scooped up. You go to your filing cabinet and nothing. The title is gone. Within seconds, your exciting plans just hit a brick wall. And honestly, this is a much bigger deal now than it used to be. Because of a recent legislative shift known as Act 165, Vermont made titles mandatory for all vehicles, period, regardless of age. They completely wiped out that old 15-year exemption rule we all knew and loved. So without a title, you essentially don't have a car. You've got a very heavy, very expensive lawn ornament. But don't stress. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have a complete roadmap to fix this.
Speaking of that roadmap, here is what we're looking at today. We will hit on 1. Why car titles matter. 2. Preparing for your application. 3. Standard title replacement steps. 4. The bonded title alternative. 5. A real-life bonded title example. And we'll wrap up with 6. Pro tips and a quick disclaimer.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, why car titles matter and the impact of Act 165.
So let's look at why the rules of the game have completely changed here in Vermont. For decades, the state was famous for this really unique loophole. They literally didn't require titles for vehicles over 15 years old. You just needed a simple registration and a bill of sale and you were good to go. But as the DMV and recent legal analysis of Act 165 made crystal clear, those days are over. Any change in ownership now requires a formal certificate of title to legally sell or register a vehicle in the state. So if you're holding on to an older car with just a bill of sale or you lost your title thinking, it doesn't matter, well, it matters immensely now.
Moving right along to Section 2, preparing for your application by gathering your information. Okay, before you even think about contacting the DMV, you've got to do a little prep work to save yourself weeks of headaches. The absolutely crucial first step? Verify your vehicle's lien status online through the Vermont DMV portal. If you had a car loan, even if you paid it off years ago, there might still be an active lien on your title in their system. And if there is, by law, the physical title goes directly to the bank, not you. Only the lien holder can request a replacement, unless, of course, you can provide a completed Form VT008 showing the lien was officially released. You'll also need to gather your valid photo ID, your current registration certificate, an accurate odometer reading, and rock-solid proof of Vermont residency, like a recent utility bill.
Next up, Section 3, Standard Title Replacement Steps, aka the Fast Track, using Form VT004.
Now, if you're simply replacing a lost title for a car that is already legally registered in your name, you are in luck. You get the fast track. The standard process is incredibly straightforward. First, download Form VT-004, the replacement title application. Next, make sure all registered owners sign it. And pay close attention here. Look at how the names are listed on your registration. If it says John and Jane, both of you must sign. If it says John or Jane, just one of you needs to sign. Finally, submit the paperwork. You can do this by mail, in person at a DMV office, or, best of all, online via the DMV portal. Just remember, that online option, it only works if your vehicle has absolutely zero active liens.
Let's talk money real quick. If you look around online, you might see some outdated information citing $33 or $35 fees. Ignore that. According to the absolute latest statutory fee structure, replacing a standard car, truck, or motorcycle title is going to cost you exactly $42. Now, if you're dealing with a specialty vehicle, an ATV, snowmobile, or motorboat, that fee drops down to $27.
Now for the tricky part, Section 4, the bonded title alternative, for when you have no proof of ownership. So, what actually happens if you bought a car off Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace? The seller ghosted you without handing over a title, and you have no valid chain of ownership. Well, you can't use that handy standard Form VT004 we just talked about. Instead, you've got to go down the bonded title route. And let me tell you, unlike the quick standard replacement, a bonded title is a much lengthier, much more rigorous process. It requires explicit DMV approval, a formal physical inspection, and the purchase of a surety bond. And this number right here illustrates the real financial weight of the bonded title process. Vermont law requires you to purchase a surety bond covering exactly 1.5 times the average trade-in value of the vehicle, usually based on NADA guides. This bond basically acts as an insurance policy. It exists to protect previous owners or even future buyers, just in case your claim to the vehicle turns out to be fraudulent.
So here is how that exact process shakes out. First, figure out the value of the vehicle and call the DMV to ensure you're even eligible to do this. Second, you have to get a licensed dealer or DMV rep to perform a physical VIN inspection using Form VT010. Third, go purchase that surety bond from a licensed provider and write a formal, detailed statement explaining exactly how you got the car and why the title is missing. Finally, mail all of this, along with your main registration form, VD119, your bond, and the 6% purchase and use tax, straight to the DMV in Montpelier. And keep in mind, this bond stays active for 3 full years before you can finally apply for a standard clean title.
Let's see what this looks like in practice. Section 5, a real-life bonded title example featuring a $4,000 farm truck. To really understand how this impacts everyday folks, let's look at a real-world scenario pulled straight from a Vermont community discussion on Reddit. This user bought a 20-plus-year-old vehicle from New York to use as a farm truck. It had literally been sitting for years. They only got a bill of sale from the seller because, under the old Vermont rules, that used to be totally fine. But when they actually went to register it after January 1st, they hit a massive brick wall. Thanks to Act 165, they now needed a title, and without one, their only option was navigating that brutal bonded title process.
So let's break down the actual math for this poor user's $4,000 truck. Because the NADA value is $4,000, they needed a bond for 1.5 times that amount, meaning $6,000 in coverage. Now, you don't pay $6,000 up front, but you do pay a premium to a bond agency. For this specific user, that premium was estimated to be around $700. Then, add in the 6% state tax, which is $240, and the registration fees of roughly $140. Suddenly, just to legally get plates for a $4,000 farm truck, this resident was staring down over $1,000 in administrative fees and bonds. It is a really stark reminder of why having a proper, clean title is just absolutely crucial.
All right, let's wrap this up with Section 6, pro tips and a disclaimer to ensure a smooth process.
I want to leave you with some actionable takeaways so you can navigate this whole thing flawlessly. It is all about efficiency here. First, always verify your lien status before applying. Second, complete your forms digitally using something like Adobe Reader. Handwritten errors are a huge cause for DMV rejections and delays. Third, when you pay online, use an ACH direct transfer to completely bypass that pesky 2.3% credit card fee. Fourth, and this is absolutely critical, if your new title doesn't arrive in the mail, you have exactly 60 days to notify the DMV. Wait any longer and you're paying for a second replacement out of pocket. And finally, once you actually get that piece of paper, lock it in a fireproof safe.
Before we officially sign off, a quick professional disclaimer. This explainer is based on current statutory data and legal analysis. As we've seen, laws and fees can and do shift. So always consult the Vermont Department of Motor Vehicles directly to confirm the most up-to-date guidance for your own specific situation.
So, I will leave you with this one question. Have you actually checked your vehicle's lien status today? Seriously, taking just 5 minutes right now to log into the DMV portal and verify that your paperwork is totally clear could save you weeks of bureaucratic agony down the road. Don't wait until you're trying to sell the car to find out your title is tangled up in red tape. Get your documents sorted, protect your investment, and stay informed. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy learning.